Warning, this video may cause triggering, also scientifically known as Mark Holmes moderator blocking syndrome. If you start to get extremely angry during this video and decide you want to punch a hole in the screen, you may have Mark Holmes moderator blocking syndrome. If you're throwing your phone across the room, you may have Mark Holmes moderator blocking syndrome. If you decide you want to throw somebody a beating, you may have Mark Holmes moderator blocking syndrome. If you try to block Philly 500 on his own channel, you are experiencing Mark Holmes moderator blocking syndrome. If you hear drip drop into a bucket, you have Mark Holmes moderating blocking syndrome. But don't worry, Philly 500 loves you anyways, and we discuss all things on this channel. We have free ideas and free thinking. Don't worry, it could always be worse. You could be married to Philly 500 and have to wake up every day to this. You know, I love doing mock drafts. I love doing mock drafts this time of year. And the only thing better than doing a mock draft now is doing a mock draft with a stogie. Dallas still stinks. By the way, King Dingbat here, and welcome to Philly 500's first mock draft of the season. This is going to be called Mock Draft and a Stogie. I figure while we're doing a mock draft, I might as well smoke one of these things because it's been a while. And we are in the victory celebration room. I don't know if you could tell, and this may be one of the last times I actually use this room until moving in a few weeks. So without further ado, before we start this draft, let's light this bad boy up. Tastes so good when it hits your lips. The furthest little pieces on your tongue, then you got a problem. But welcome to the mock draft. Gosh, it feels good to smoke one of these. Oh, God, lay up again. We didn't smoke very many last year. Not with the Eagles being the way they were. So let's see. Let's see if we can do this mock draft before the cigar is gone. And I'm going to jump right into it, right? This will be a non-trade mock draft, okay? I'm going to hopefully do one more where I will actually do trades. This one will not be trades. We'll see what happens. But with the first pick, we have the Jaguars. They are on the clock, and obviously this is a no-brainer. They're going to take Trevor Lawrence unless they're dumb. With the second overall pick, the Jets, who were very dumb. Just kidding, Jet fans. Don't get all upset. But with the second pick, the Jets, they're going to take Zach Wilson. This is a great pick. I love both these quarterbacks. Obviously, both teams need a quarterback, have to have a quarterback, got to get a quarterback, do it. Now, here's the interesting thing. This is where the draft begins, really. Because if what everybody's saying is true, that the 49ers are going to take this guy, I think it whacks everything out, to be quite honest with you. And I still have a hard time believing they're going to make this pick, but I'm buying into the hype at this point. I keep hearing it. It must be true. We'll see. With the third pick overall, the San Francisco 49ers are going Mac Jones. They're going Mac Jones. That's what everybody's saying. Surprising to me. If I was the 49ers here, I probably would go Trey Lance or Justin Fields, but I'm not them. So the 49ers at 3 take Mac Jones. They take Mac Jones, and here we go. Now, with the fourth pick, the Atlanta Falcons. In a scenario where I could do trades, this would be a trade back. I think a team like Denver would be looking to trade up here. But since Atlanta's got to stay, I've got Atlanta still going quarterback. Trey Lance is sitting right there. Good young quarterback. I think the Falcons here take Trey Lance. So, with the number 5 pick in the draft, we now have the Cincinnati Bengals. Now listen, I am not believing the Bengals want to go Jaa'marr Chase. They could. It would make sense. Burrow's lobbying for him. But Burrow is lobbying from where? From rehab. From getting injured this year and having to come back from what? Torn ACL? What it was? You can't allow that to happen. You have to protect your quarterback. And to me, one of the best players in this draft, Penei Sewell. So I have the Bengals still going with Penei Sewell. I don't buy the Jaa'marr Chase to Cincinnati hype at all. I'm saying Penei Sewell, unless they're stupid. So, the top 5 picks so far. Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Trey Lance, and Penei Sewell. Now, with the 6th pick in this draft, the Miami Dolphins are on the clock after trading with my birds. Eagles could have had their choice. Jaa'marr Chase, Kyle Pitts. But they traded back, so here we go. Now, with the 6th pick, I think Miami could go 2 places here. They could go Kyle Pitts. They could go Jaa'marr Chase. I think they're going to go, and I am going to draft for the Miami Dolphins, Jaa'marr Chase. I think Jaa'marr Chase, best wide receiver in this draft, he is going to end up with the Miami Dolphins at 6. Man, this stinks, but it tastes good. So now we come to the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions, it's interesting here because they have Jared Goff. They could really go Justin Fields here. They could snag Justin Fields right here. Or they could take, in my opinion, the best football player in this draft. And I think with having Jared Goff there for the time being, I think Detroit is not going to be able to pass up on Kyle Pitts. I got Kyle Pitts going to the Detroit Lions in an absolute steal. Now, for 8, we have the Carolina Panthers. And Carolina is interesting because we know they needed a quarterback. They trade for Darnold, which, we'll see how that works out. But the one thing they're going to have to do if they want and hope he has any success, you have to draft an offensive lineman. This is where I see Rashawn Slater falling to the Carolina Panthers at 8. And with the 8th pick, Carolina Panthers take Rashawn Slater. Now, with the 9th pick in this draft, it's the Denver Broncos. I see this, like I said, this is one, if I was doing trades, I'd probably have traded Denver and Atlanta. But we're not doing that. Or you could see a team like the Patriots maybe come up and try to get there in hopes of getting a quarterback. But at number 9, with Denver and knowing what their needs are, they do need a quarterback. Obviously, no question about it. They could take Justin Fields here. They also could use a cornerback. They could use a few things, okay? Because I know some people say, they don't need a corner. You got Ronald Darby, stinks. All right? He stinks. But with the 9th pick, Denver is going to take a quarterback here. I've got them taking Justin Fields at number 9. And I think this is a prime area in which I think he could trade. Now we go to the stinking Cowboys. Well, I need a couple puffs of this before we deal with this crappy team. Dallas wanted Kyle Pitts. Well, you didn't get him. Ha ha ha. Good. Now, I think Dallas, we all know what they need. They need defense. They need defensive help. They lose their cornerbacks and they keep losing corners. Owuzie goes this year, right? So I think it's obvious the Cowboys are going to go cornerback here. The question is, which one do they go? Do they like Patrick Surtain or do they like J.C. Horn? And if I'm being honest and I'm saying who I think I've heard the Cowboys talk a lot about, who I think is the best corner in this draft, it's J.C. Horn. So I have the Cowboys taking at 10 J.C. Horn. Now, some people may think that's too early for him. I think he's the best corner in this draft, so I don't. Now we come to the New York Giants, and boy, do I need a favor from the New York Giants. In a perfect scenario for the New York Giants, I need to see some type of pick that would piss Giant fans off. Well, maybe not piss them off. Maybe they like this pick. Who the hell knows? But I don't think they would be that happy when you have guys like Micah Parsons still on the board, Surtain, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, a lot of guys on this board. I mean, I think personally, I think the Giants have done a great job in free agency. They could go anyway in this draft. And I think if Rashawn Slater was there, he would have been the pick. But he's not. He's gone. So, what I would love to see the Giants do is draft Kwity Paye here. I would love to see them draft Kwity Paye, and all the Giant fans are getting all worked up, and Pizzle's coming on trying to calm everybody down, praising Gettleman, his God. I would love to see it. But it's not likely. You know, I mean, look, Bad Dog is better when he's a mad dog. That's what I always say. I like him when he's mad. I like him all the time, but I like him when he's mad. It's even funner. And if they drafted Kwity Paye here, because the Giants do need defensive end. They do need it. If they drafted him there, it would take the problem of Howie Roseman out from screwing up this pick. It would take that away for the Eagles. So I would hope they go Kwity Paye, but I don't think they're going to. And it's not that I don't like Kwity Paye. I just don't think he's a top 12 player, okay? But I think here, the Giants, right? I think there's two ways they can go. I think they could go Parsons or they could go wide receiver. And when you look, I mean, what they did in free agency, getting Kenny Golladay, right? They got John Ross. But John Ross is supposed to be a speed guy, and he's always hurt. I think the Giants in this position are going wide receiver. And I think it's a luxury pick. They don't have to have it. But when you look at the talent on the board, and if we're honest about what's on the board, you know, we keep hearing Parsons going to drop because of off the field things. I don't know whether to believe that or not. But for argument's sake, let's just say he does. I'm going to say that right now I got the New York Giants at 11 taking Jalen Waddle. And the reason I have him taking Jalen Waddle is because I think Jalen Waddle, in my opinion, would be a better complement with Golladay. I think those two as a 1-2 punch is dynamic with his speed and his explosiveness with a guy like Golladay, who's a little bigger wide receiver, still explosive in his own right. But I think that would be a great combination pick for the New York Giants. So I have the Giants taking Jalen Waddle in a pick that they could go any which way. The Giants could go any which way, including trading back. That brings us to the greatest franchise to ever walk this fine earth. The Philadelphia Eagles. You are on the clock. We are on the clock. Now, I'm going to give you my fear, and I'm going to give you what I think. All right? My fear is that we are in a prime position for the Eagles to sit there and to go ahead and basically take a defensive lineman. Because in the past, the Eagles at 12 take Cox. They took Derek Barnett, like 14, 13, whatever it was. And same thing with Derek Barnett. This always seems like a defensive line pick for the Eagles. Now, if this happens, I'm probably going to break my wall and flip out. Because this is the one pick I do not want them to make. Not that they can't upgrade the defensive end, but I think it's too early for any of these guys. If you really have your heart set on a Kwity Paye or somebody like that, trade back. Trade back. But for me, I think the Eagles have to be honest to their draft board. And I think with Nick Sirianni and his energy and the way he talks about route running, and I think that he will have an influence on Howie Roseman. And I think Howie Roseman, being that his job, could be on the line if he has another bad draft, he may try not to outsmart himself, and he may actually listen to his scouts, which he didn't do last year. Remember, he passed on Jefferson when the scouts told him to draft him. He also passed on Jeremy Chin when the scouts told him to draft. So we'll see. And I think also is you got to learn from your mistakes. You have to learn from the mistakes of the past. What they did with Carson Wentz and how they were with him didn't work. Okay? So Get Jalen Hurts weapons. The best guy on the draft board, on my draft board at this moment, is Devontae Smith. And with the 12th pick, I've got the Philadelphia Eagles selecting Devontae Smith, my wide receiver, one of my top 4 guys I wanted. We get him. I'm very happy about that. We're all celebrating, double moonwalking. It's going to be a party. It's going to be a party. And Mark Holmes is not going to have anything to say. He's going to mute my little box that he's going to have on my channel. And I got the Eagles taking Devontae Smith. Now, at 13, we have the Los Angeles Chargers. And I think we all know the Chargers need offensive linemen. They need an offensive lineman. But what's happened is Patrick Surtain has dropped. He has dropped to 13. And he is going to be too much of a talent for the Chargers to pass up. And I believe the Los Angeles Chargers, with the 13th pick, they are going to take Patrick Surtain. So I have the Chargers taking Patrick Surtain. So with the 14th pick, Minnesota Vikings are up. And I think they're going offensive lineman here. I think they're going line. I got them taking Elijah Vera Tucker. What are you looking at, Carr? That's who they're going at number 14. Now, at 15, the New England Patriots. They're a team that is primed to trade up and try to get a quarterback. But it's not worked out for them so far. And I think right here, Bill Belichick, he's looking on this board and he's going, this dude fell to me. He shouldn't have fell to me. He's a top 10 pick. But for whatever reason, he fell in the draft, off the field stuff or whatever. And with the 15th pick, the New England Patriots are going to take Micah Parsons. Now, that takes us to number 16, the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals need a cornerback, okay? The Cardinals need a cornerback, and the question is what do they think about Caleb Farley, Greg Newsome? What do they think about the cornerback situation? And I look at Caleb Farley, and I know he's got those back issues and stuff like that, but if this guy's healthy, he is maybe a top 12 talent. And I think the Arizona Cardinals are just the team to take a shot on Caleb Farley. So I have the Arizona Cardinals at 16 taking Caleb Farley. Now this takes us to number 17 and I'm going to say Oakland Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders, look, they could go a lot of ways too. There's a lot of talk that they need linebacker, they need offensive line, they need, who knows? They need pass rushers. The Raiders could go a lot of ways, but I think Christian Darsaw is sitting on the board right now. We know the Raiders need offensive line help. So at 17, I have the Los Angeles Raiders taking Christian Darsaw. Now, I ain't talking too much. Now, with 18, we have the Miami Dolphins back up again, okay? They already got their offensive player in Jaa'marr Chase, total stud. I think the Dolphins are going to look to a pass rusher, and they're going to look in their own city for it, and they're going to sit there and they're going to take defensive end Jalen Phillips. That's who I have the Miami Dolphins taking at 18, which brings me to the Washington No Names, a team without a name still. How could you go this long and not have a new name? You've had a year to figure it out. You can't figure it out? Well, Washington can't. So they're the No Names. They're still the No Names. They're on the clock. Obviously, they need a quarterback. I don't know if they're planning some big, great move up to try to get one of these quarterbacks, but they're going to have Ryan Fitzpatrick, who I'm not scared of. The one thing about the Washington No Names is they got a hell of a defense. They got a hell of a defensive line, and they got a defensive-minded coach. Now, this is going to break my heart. This is going to break my heart. This is going to break my heart because I love this guy. I love him. I love him. But with the 19th pick in this draft, I got the Washington No Names taking Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. This is going to break my heart because he's going to be a stud. And sometimes, you know what? Sometimes you're already good on one side of the ball and you just become better. And that's just what they're going to do. They already got a great front. Now they're going to have a foundational piece at linebacker. And Rivera is going to love him. He is going to love him. And now we go to 20. And the Chicago Bears. The Bears stink. You know, poor Josh. My man Josh Sports Fury, shout out to him. This guy, he loses his Trubisky jersey. He's all out of whiskey because he lost his Trubisky. He knows Philly was right to say that the Bears still stink. I don't even think he wants the jersey back. I don't even think he wants it back. But it is what it is. And with the Chicago Bears, their offensive line is not good. It is not good. And this is why I have the Chicago Bears at 20 taking Sam Cosmi. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I always say it wrong. Sam Cosmi, whatever it is. Great offensive lineman. I think he's a total stud. And I think they get a bargain here. Instant starter for the Chicago Bears. That's who I have them taking at 20. Which brings us to the 21. And the Indianapolis Colts. With their new quarterback, the North Dakota baby. Well, the North Dakota assassin. But it's hard for me to say that anymore after he went to Indianapolis. But, I mean, look, the key for the Colts really is going to be to protect Carson Wentz. You ain't going nowhere if this guy gets injured, and I ain't getting a first-round pick if he's getting injured. So, who the hell, you hear these stupid kids? They don't go to school. Go to school. You hear this? These kids don't go to school. Anyways, with the 21st pick in the draft, this is what happens when you do it in the garage. Well, that's because we're smoking stogie, but with the 21st pick, I have the Colts taking Tevin Jenkins, the offensive lineman. I think you got to bolster that line. You got to make sure you protect Carson Wentz. And this is what I see the Indianapolis Colts doing. So with the 22nd pick in the NFL draft, the Tennessee Titans are on the board. And I think this is the spot, and this is around the spot where Kwity Paye should go. I think this is a good value for him. I think when you look at Clowney leaving Tennessee, they need another pass rusher. And with the 22nd pick, I have the Tennessee Titans taking Kwity Paye. Which brings us to the 23rd pick in this draft, and it's the New York Jets. Now, the Jets could go a lot of ways. They just got their quarterback. Do they want to bolster the offensive line? Are they going to look for another weapon? Or could they be looking on the defensive side of the ball? The second defensive end just fell. There's one really good one left, and I think a good fit for the Jets is Gregory Rousseau. I have the Jets at 23 taking Gregory Rousseau. Now, this takes us to 24 and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Look, the Steelers, they could get offensive line help. They could do a lot of things here. But I'm telling you, when I think of this guy, I see him wearing a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform. And I think maybe for some people, this may be a little shocker. This may be a little late. This may be just right. But with the 24th pick in this draft, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking Najee Harris, the best running back in the draft. No question about it. In my opinion, Najee Harris is a complete stud. And, I mean, I think he fits Pittsburgh perfect. I think he fits the Steelers. He looks like a Steelers running back to me. And I got Najee Harris going to the Steelers at 24. It's going to be interesting. Now, at 25, the Jacksonville Jaguars are back up. They got their quarterback, and I think they're going to go out and get him another weapon. I got the Jacksonville Jaguars taking Rashad Bateman, really good wide receiver. I think kid can play. He's my fourth best wide receiver in this draft, but I have Rashad Bateman going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, which takes us to the 26th pick and the Cleveland Browns. Now, I mean, Cleveland, they're in a playoff team. They're back. And I think they're going to go Azeez Ojulari. If I always say his name wrong, and I apologize. But I think helping that defense, helping that defensive line is going to be great for them. I think he's a perfect fit. And that's who I have the Cleveland Browns taking at 26. So we're at 27, and we're trying to get done before the cigar is done. So we're getting close, and the Baltimore Ravens are on the clock. And they could go a lot of ways. They could go wide receiver. They could go defense. They could do a lot of things. But I think the Ravens, though, I think of a team that lost Earl Thomas last year. They lost him, and they didn't really replace him. And I got to tell you, I think the perfect player for them is on the board right now. I think not only is he the a need that the Baltimore Ravens have to have, but he may be the best player on the board as we speak. So I have the Baltimore Ravens with the 27th pick taking Trevon Moehrig, the safety, 6'1", 205 pounds, hell of a player, hell of a pick for the Baltimore Ravens. Now, at 28, you have the New Orleans Saints. Saints need a quarterback too, but they're not going to get it at this point. I think they're going to go defensive side of the ball. I think they're going to look to shore up their defensive backs, and I got them taking Greg Newsome II out of Northwestern University. This is where I think they're going to go. Now, at 29, there is a guy for the Green Bay Packers who I think somebody they could use, and I think he's a guy that in my mock draft right here, I mean, he is slipping. He is slipping. And I have the Green Bay Packers taking Christian Barmore, the defensive tackle. Best defensive tackle in this draft. Only real first-round defensive tackle in my mind. And I think he'll fit Green Bay and what they want to do perfectly. So Christian Barmore goes to the Green Bay Packers. I almost forgot what team he went to. When you start to forget, that means you need to take a puff of your cigar. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Okay? So, we are now at 30. And the Buffalo Bills are on the clock. Now, this may be a stretch pick here because I think the Buffalo Bills could go a lot of ways, okay? But I think of their coach, I think defense. And there's a guy that I really, really like, maybe more so than other people. But I think the Buffalo Bills are going to go corner here. I got the Buffalo Bills, maybe in a little surprise, taking Asante Samuel Jr. That's right, Asante Samuel Jr., total stud. I think he can play, and I think on that defense, it's just going to get better. And I think he's going to be a great piece to go with White. So I got Asante Samuel Jr. headed to the Buffalo Bills. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs are on the board. And I mean, we all know they need offensive line help. They could also use a wide receiver. They did lose Sammy Watkins, and that could happen too. But I got the Chiefs taking Jalen Mayfield, the offensive lineman, offensive tackle. I got him going to the Kansas City Chiefs to help basically bolster that line, which takes us to the Super Bowl champions and the last pick of this mock draft, and we did pretty good. We're gonna beat this cigar, which is very, very cool. But with the 32nd pick in this draft, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they brought most of their guys back, if not all of them, and they're ready for another Super Bowl run, okay? And this pick, I think, personally, is a luxury pick. This is a pick that they don't have to make. They could go some other way, but I think if they just say, look, who's the best player available right now? Who is it? And they're going to go wide receiver Terrence Marshall. The wide receiver, LSU. He is not just the other guy of Jaa'marr Chase. This dude's a stud. I said Bateman was my fourth wide receiver. Actually, Bateman's my fifth. Terrence Marshall is my fourth best wide receiver. So I apologize for that. But I got the Buccaneers taking Terrence Marshall. And the one thing I can say about this mock draft is there were no trades. And I've said this for when it comes to my Eagles. If you want a guy like Terrence Marshall, you're going to have to trade up. If you want a guy like JOK, you're going to have to trade up. So the Eagles have to be aggressive. But I have Terrence Marshall headed to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And that concludes my first mock draft. Let me know what you guys think. Obviously, hopefully this won't be out so late where I'm not updating everything. But I'll try to do at least one more first round mock draft, and then one seven round mock draft for just the Eagles. But I think the Eagles are going to go Devontae Smith in this draft, and I'm ecstatic about it. I would say if this happens, if it falls like this, the Eagles did A+ in the draft. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section. With that said, take care, talk to you later, and of course, don't be a dingbat.